So one of the reasons that I chose you guys was because you guys were so close. That was a big plus. A lot of the other ones that I looked at were outside of the state. So California and Las Vegas actually was another place that I looked at. So I was looking for something that was close, but then I don't know how it goes across the board with different pricing, different like methods and things. But when you guys said you actually go in and you don't use the robotic method, so you get a very natural look, that was very appealing to me. You guys were super friendly when I first came in, and that's a big plus for me. You hear those horror stories about people going and it's like super shady and they go through with it. Had nothing like that here. Then I brought my wife along and she was like, yeah, these people are nice. So that was why we decided to stick with you guys and proceed that way. So after I graduated high school, I noticed it was starting to thin a little bit in the front especially. And I did a lot of research about NeoGraft because that seemed to be a good solution, one that was more permanent than just taking supplements and things like that. Um, and did that research for about a year and a half, and then I started looking at places to go. I'm big on looking at the reviews for people, what's their qualification, what's their background, how many have they done, things like that. You were one of the first ones that popped up, and I was looking at your guys' reviews, no negative reviews or anything like that. So I came into you guys just to see, what the process was, to kind of start feeling around and see what that would look like. Um, and that's how that kind of started. When I graduated high school, I had just started working at a tutoring center, and through some uh, fortunate events, I was promoted as manager there pretty quickly. But the one problem was I had already started to notice my hair thinning in the front, and part of my job was interacting with the parents, assessing their child and seeing where their child was at. And first impressions are a big thing, especially when a parent is entrusting their child's learning experience to you. So I always wanted to look my best, but I felt that it was hard to do with my hair thinning. I was always trying to come up with ways to kind of cover it up as best I could. I really like my curly hair naturally, but I would typically find myself straightening it to kind of cover that up, and it kind of looked odd, didn't quite fit my head. And then as the years kind of progressed, I was there for a year as manager. It just kind of got worse and worse and worse. I got into the job that I'm at currently, and I was allowed to wear a hat, so I did so, which definitely helped with confidence in terms of, okay, I don't need to deal with it, no one can see it. But as an intern, you can get away with that, but once you actually step from intern to the professional actual role, you can't wear a hat anymore. So that would have, had I not been doing this now, that would have been very hard to try and transition back into that. So I think 6 months down the road, because of all the research I did, I think I have more reasonable expectations than others might have. I'm not expecting like a full head of hair right at the 6 month mark. I'd love to see some of that growth starting to come in just at the very basic level. A lot of what I wanted to do was regain a line and fill in, if possible, like around this kind of U-shaped that typically starts to form. I saw it, with my dad. So I'd like to see that regrowth start to happen, and then further on, I'm hopeful for the results after that.
It's 2 weeks since you had your procedure done. There's been a lot going on since then. Just looking at the results, how do you feel?
I feel great. No discomfort or anything like that as of right now. It seemed like fairly quick, not necessarily recovery, but the 2 weeks has gone by really fast. And so far, I'm really happy with what I'm seeing on. So the only discomfort that I felt was there was some achiness in the top of my head, and when I was sleeping at night, you're in the elevated position. I could feel some achiness back here, putting pressure on it. Anytime that I was up during the day, though, as long as I stayed elevated and without putting pressure on the back, it felt really good. There was no achiness. I'd say that initial feeling probably was gone by the third morning. Overall, sometimes when I'd lay down, it'd come back a little bit, but even I think I didn't take any Tylenol the second day, and it was totally manageable. Nothing like too much of discomfort. Definitely have a good place to sleep though, in an elevated position because uh, there was some rearranging of the pillows that had to be done on the couch to make that comfortable.
How about during the procedure? It's a kind of a long procedure. You're in the chair for a while. There's a series of topical anesthesias that were applied. How was the comfort level throughout the procedure? How did we respond if there was some tenderness or something like that? Just talk about that from a comfort level, the experience of the procedure.
Yeah. So from the very beginning, the whole team was really good at making sure I was comfortable. Like multiple times, they'd ask, how does this feel? How does this feel? Are you comfortable? Do you need anything? And throughout the procedure, that stayed true the entire time, which was awesome. The entire procedure as a whole, like fairly painless. Like the worst part, if you want to put it that way, was the initial shots just for the anesthesia. That was the most painful thing. Like after that, you can't feel anything. It's a little weird hearing some of the sounds, but as long as you have the headphones, that tends to go away. After we got to kind of the midpoint, after they had extracted all the follicles, they let me sit up. They asked me, do you need anything? You need to go to the bathroom, that kind of thing. Still checking in, and after that, it was smooth on going from there. Again, they did the shots for the anesthesia in the front. Again, though, that was the only uncomfortable thing. The rest you couldn't even feel.
And that comfort level of the shots on a scale of 1 to 10, or uncomfortable scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like really uncomfortable, excruciatingly uncomfortable, and 1 being, kind of noticeable. Where would you put most of those shots as they were getting placed in you?
So most of them probably were around a 6 or 7. I thought that they were tolerable, and I didn't feel the need to have them like stop giving shots at any point. But it definitely depended where they were at too. Like there were some that I could feel more than others, and there were some that I was like, oh, I could tell they put one there, but probably some of the anesthesia was already in effect at that point. I'm really happy I went with you guys because not only like throughout the procedure, like I said, the team was checking up on me, you guys were checking up on me, but even before and after, even again up till now, you guys have been sending me messages asking, how's the level today of discomfort? How are you feeling? Do you have any questions? That kind of thing. There's a lot of follow through, and I'm really happy that I went with you guys because I definitely appreciate follow up. It helps. One, it helps me keep on track with things and remember like, okay, I'm at this stage, I can start doing this, be sure of this. And you guys are very open to questions where I can ask you like, hey, what about this? And you guys are very quick to be like, you can do this, but be careful of this, that kind of thing.